Hey everybody, this is your girl, Farah. I'm 26 and I kinda couldn't hold my peace and almost ruined my brother's wedding. But it was all because of a crazy belly inflation mishap. My big brother, Weston, and I were crazy close growing up, but not so much anymore. I remember our secret fishing spot by the lake where we used to skip stones and try to figure out the world together. But the older we got, the more we drifted apart. So, I'm a fashion designer, or was a fashion designer before budget cuts swooped down like a big scary axe, and I was out on my keister. I couldn't afford my fancy loft or luxury ride, and I had to downgrade like crazy. So I moved in with Weston, which was great, but every time his uppity girlfriend Yvette came by, she'd find some way to remind me how well she was doing and what a loser I was. It didn't help that she was in the fashion game too, because her success made me feel worse. I'll give it to her, Yvette was gorgeous and talented, but there was something about her that just made me cringe. She had this air of superiority, and she was always name-dropping. She said that she used to date my favorite fashion designer, this brilliant visionary that only had one name, like Madonna. He went by Dario, and his signature style was so inspiring. I didn't believe Yvette when she said that they used to be sweethearts. She was over all the time, and I didn't spend any time with Weston. I missed our younger years when we were so close. Now we couldn't go anywhere without Yvette on his arm. One night, I was at home working on some new dress designs and looking for jobs online, and I got a notification on my phone. I couldn't believe it. I was the last one to know that my brother proposed to Yvette, and they were already engaged. It was all over social media, and I guess my feelings were hurt that Weston didn't talk to me first. They came home late, giddy from their celebration, and I gave them a half-hearted congratulations. Yvette was on cloud 9 and acting like we were besties, but I didn't feel it, and when she asked me to be one of her bridesmaids, I turned her down. But Weston talked to me the next morning and said that he thought I was being rude to Yvette, and he wanted me to try to be friendly. So I tried my best and said I'd be delighted to be a part of the wedding. But deep down, I didn't want them to get married. I tried to put on a smile for Weston and went out with Yvette from time to time to help with the wedding plans. I enjoyed helping her compare colors and venues, but she wanted to get married fast, and I was wondering why she was rushing. Well, a few weeks later, I started to suspect that she was being unfaithful. This was after she moved in, and I couldn't get away from her. We were having coffee, and Yvette was showing me her phone, with all these bridal gown pictures she'd saved, when a text message popped up from that ex of hers. It was good to see you last night. At first, I was just excited that she actually knew the infamous Dario, but then I began to wonder what she was doing talking with her ex-boyfriend. But before I could say anything, Yvette snatched her phone back and was frantically changing the subject. I was going to tell my brother, but I didn't want to be hasty, so I thought I'd play detective a bit and keep a close eye on Yvette. To be honest, the drama was an excuse not to obsess over my lack of job. I knew I should be working harder on my portfolio, but I didn't want to fail again. Maybe fashion designing wasn't for me. Maybe I needed to consider something else, like whether or not Yvette was cheating on my brother. Some friends told me I should mind my own business, and I was going to back off, but that was before Yvette's belly inflation. One morning, Yvette clutched her stomach and left the kitchen suddenly. I followed her, and when I peeked through the door, I saw that Yvette was wearing a corset, and when she undid the strings, her belly inflated. I thought she had this flat stomach, but she didn't. I paid more attention, and I realized that Yvette was a master at hiding her belly. She knew just the styles to wear and fused maternity wear with street clothes. I had to admire it from the fashion designer stance. But then the obvious hit me. Maybe Yvette was pregnant. That would explain why she was marrying my brother so fast. I put my theory to the test and popped a bottle of champagne. We never had a chance to properly celebrate, I said. But Yvette wouldn't touch it. Oh no, I shouldn't, she said, and she refused to have even a drop. I thought I figured out the secret. My brother and Yvette were going to have a baby, and that's why he was marrying her. My brother was working late one night, and I overheard Yvette on the phone. I figured she was talking to that Dario boyfriend because I heard her say that Weston didn't know a thing. Later that night, when Yvette left her phone alone, I checked her call log, and sure enough, it was Dario. Was it possible that my brother didn't know about her pregnancy? I surprised Weston at work one day, and I told him that I thought Yvette was pregnant and asked if that's why they were getting married. But Weston said it was impossible for her to be pregnant because they had decided to wait until marriage. I knew then that Yvette was playing my brother for a fool, but I had to prove it if I wanted to convince Weston. I decided that a picture was the best thing to do, and I waited by her door. Sure enough, she released the corset under her clothes and her belly inflated. I snapped as many pictures from as many different angles as I could get. As I was staring at her inflated belly pictures, I wondered what she wanted with my brother. I created this narrative in my head where Yvette was pregnant with Dario's baby, but since he dumped her, she was using Weston to get back at him. The whole marriage to my brother was just a ploy to make Dario jealous. But then she fell in love again, like one of those daytime soap operas. And I had to get my brother out of this drama. The night before the wedding, Yvette said she suddenly had to go meet somebody, and I figured it would be Dario, so I followed her. Sure enough, she drove all the way downtown and went into this fancy building where security wouldn't let me enter. But when I was talking with the security guy, I took a glance at the resident book and found out that Dario lived in the top floor penthouse. Weston was out at his bachelor party and not answering his phone. Well, just then, Yvette and Dario came downstairs together. I took some video on my phone, and I had my proof. The next day at the wedding, I couldn't hold my peace. Just before the ceremony, I took my brother aside and showed him the pictures of her inflated, pregnant belly, and then the pictures of her with Dario. I shared my whole theory about how she was using him. I had never seen Weston so upset. He said he needed some time, and he wandered off. I felt awful for Weston, but vindicated. The time to tell off Yvette had come. But when I confronted her, Dario was there, and I was starstruck. Yvette introduced us, and Dario said he was pleased with my portfolio and that he was looking for an assistant designer. I didn't know what to say. I was stammering, completely thrown off guard. Yvette explained that she had recommended me. I was thrilled for about a second, but then it hit me what I had done. You mean you guys aren't having a baby together? What about the phone calls and your big inflated belly? Yvette suddenly got self-conscious, and I explained to her that I told Weston that she was having an affair. She ran off. Dario was shaking his head, and I said I thought he and Yvette used to date. We did, he said, a long time ago. Now they're just friends. He admires her opinion, which is why he wanted to take her recommendation and hire me. She really wants to be close to you, he said, because she asked in person. And that's what they were doing together. But what about her belly? I asked him. Dario told me a little story then, and it was kind of a sad one. See, years ago, she was in a bus accident, and she was sent to the hospital for weeks. She had some swelling in her brain, and ever since then, she's had to take medication. The medication, unfortunately, causes belly inflation, Dario explained. And I finally uncovered Yvette's big secret because it makes her self-conscious. This whole time, I thought Yvette was this awful witch trying to use my brother, but she was really the sweetest thing. I found her and told her how sorry I was, and in fact, I admitted that I was jealous. I promised her I would make it right. But Weston had his phone turned off, and she had no idea where he could be. But I did. I knew exactly where he would be. I drove like mad to the lake, and I found him in our fishing spot, skipping stones. I told Weston I was all wrong about Yvette and urged him to come back. I admitted that I didn't like Yvette at first, and I said I was afraid that I'd lose him completely. But now I know that she's a great catch, and I told him I wanted him to be happy. We hugged and made up, and I raced him back to the church just in time for the wedding. Things turned out great. But I learned a valuable lesson. Jealousy can make you blind. It makes you doubt your friends and family, and it turns you into somebody you were never meant to be. So don't let self-doubt turn you jealous, and keep your eyes open out there. Have you ever been jealous of somebody? Tell us about it in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden wisdom stories. Remember, when you share our stories, you're sharing wisdom.